Hi, I'm Brian Eisenhower, and with therealestatetrainer.com, and I'm sitting here with my good friend Jesse Garcia, with an amazing company, with an amazing product that he founded called Pipeline Wizard. And Jesse, you know I'm a huge fan of both you and your product. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Pipeline Wizard does?
Thanks, Brian. Pipeline Wizard's a business accountability software for real estate professionals, and what it does is it helps track lead generation activities and results and their pipeline, so agents can really focus on where they're succeeding and where there's opportunity for improvement.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, Jesse, to me, the most important thing for real estate agents to focus on when they are setting their goals or they are trying to break through to a new level with their production and really increase at a higher level next year. I see the differences is between those agents that actually systematically track their business generation activities versus the ones that just try to get to it when they can.
No, and you're absolutely right. I mean, if you look at a lot of the books that we read, you look at and you study big corporations, big companies, or even top producers in any given real estate market, they are tracking their business. They are a systems-based type company. Even if they're not a systems type person, they leverage out the systems to other people that are strong in that suit. And with tracking and lead generation and knowing your numbers, I use a lot of sports analogies. And you look at anybody who plays football, baseball, soccer, whatever it is, coaches can effectively coach them if they have the right data in front of them, if they want to get stronger, if they want to get faster. And so with our system, it shows you conversion ratios, where you're succeeding, where you may need help in different areas, not just an overall, hey, here's a rule of thumb script that you need to use. Here is a script that is specific for appointment setting or for contract to close. Or even just getting to the appointment. So there's many different skill sets that the system does track.
Yeah, as a coach, it makes it so much easier. I mean, as you know, I've referred multiple agents to your product,
Thank you.
and it makes my job a lot easier, especially when you initiate that first coaching appointment and you're trying to determine where they need help. The ones that track, I can quickly diagnose and understand where they need help. But it takes a long time to start tracking and to start getting a series, a couple months to at least get a accumulated amount of data so I can actually really determine where the problems are. If they don't know their leads to contacts, contacts to appointments, appointments to contracts, and contracts to close, I don't know, and I don't know where they're succeeding or failure, depending on what type of lead generation activity, who they're calling. So I love that about Pipeline Wizard. When I start working with someone that is using Pipeline Wizard, it's extremely easy to start increasing that business revenue right away. So I'm just here to thank you for that, for one.
Thank you. I mean, and I'm glad. I'm really glad it's a tool that's really helping you coach agents, because I think it really identifies not only where you can help them, but also give them a high five, pat them on the back, celebrate the wins, and go, hey, you're killing it here. You know, maybe you're selling yourself too short. Let's increase those goals a little bit. You know, maybe let's extend it out a little bit. And especially with 2015 right around the corner, it's like, hey, what can you really do this year? What do you want to achieve this year?
Agreed. Around the New Year's time, that's when most agents really work on those annual goals. And what drives me nuts is when a real estate agent will say, well, I want to close 100 transactions next year. And to do that, I'm going to do these three things. And there's nothing measurable about them. It's a total pipe dream, pie in the sky number that they think if they just focus on contacting their COI a little bit more this year, that's going to magically take them to 50 transactions to 100. And there's no way to connect those dots from 50 to 100 other than I'm just going to try a little harder.
Well, if you look at the whole psychology of it too, Brian, it's how many new gym memberships you think they're going to be at the turn of the year, right? Unless you have a measurable goal where it's you hire a trainer, you hire a coach, you're going to start writing out your goals. I want to lose this much weight. I want to get this much down in body fat. I want to be able to run a half marathon by the end of this year. You have to be able to track and measure those, and if you're not, then you don't know if you're improving or not. And I always tell people, Pipeline Wizard is like a gym membership. It only works if you use it.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, you are more likely to do those business generation activities if you're tracking it, because it is a wonderful layer of accountability just by making sure you know and report your goals. And it does not take any more time. In fact, it's going to speed you up because you all of a sudden become motivated to do what you're supposed to do because it's looking right at you every single day. And it'll actually keep you accountable as if another human would, or a personal trainer or a coach that's going to help you run a marathon. I love that. And it's really easy. If I break it down with an agent that I coach, and I know, well, for every 25 contacts to their COI they average 1 listing appointment. Well, and I know that they need 5 listing appointments for them is going to equal, I don't know, 4 listings. Well, now I can actually do the math. There's 200 or there's 50. If they need 5 listings a week, there's 200 or there's 50 working weeks in the year. I know they're going to take 250 minus the 50 they missed. They're going to take 200 listings this year. 200 listings equals, let's say, 150 closing. Now we can actually get a very measurable goal that we know that they need to make 25 contacts every single day, and they should close, in that case, a lot, 200 transactions a year.
And to get that further too, it's the motivation factor. Because now the guesswork out of your job is done, because the more you use the system or the more that you track, it's taking the guesswork out of running your business. It's great. I know on average over the course of a quarter, 6 months, a year, I have to talk to 20 people before I get a listing, or I got to talk to 15 people, 20 people before I get a buyer consultation. It's taking the guesswork out of what you need to do for lead generation, and it all goes back to being a numbers game. It's just identifying the numbers.
I talked to an agent just the other day who had kind of held himself accountable indirectly through me, where he was going to make 20 contacts a day, and he said he only made 10. And I'm like, great. So we're just going to adjust that goal down at the end of the year, because that's gonna now you're just satisfied with 199. So every day you don't do it, you can actually think in the back of my head, well, okay, that goal's getting lower every time I do this, because it's measurable. And that actually creates pain, because you actually have connected the dots from the specific activity all the way to the year-end result. And it takes the guesswork out of real estate, where we're very design-oriented. You're not just saying, well, the market's bad, I had a down year. Well, you had a down year because you didn't do what you said to do. Mm-hmm. And it's very, very specific to your activity, which is the highest layer of accountability you can have. And I think that's the biggest difference between top producing agents that sell hundreds of homes a year and the agents that continuously sell 30 to 40 homes every year for decades on end, is they get very business minded. They start treating it like a business, where they actually look and plan out the activities that are specifically and measurably calculated to hit the results.
So let me ask you something, Brian, because with the realestatetrainer.com, I mean, you interview tons of top producing agents. What would, and I'm putting you on the spot here because we didn't talk about this prior to, if you were to look back at all the interviews you've done, what would at least one of the main common denominators that that stands out in every one of them, that would pop into your brain, that goes, all of them did this, or all of them had this thought process, this mindset? What would be the one common denominator?
You know, they keep their marketing department open. That is the one major common denominator, is they consistently try to get more business. And they know the most important aspect of consistently trying to get more every day, despite how many they have, despite how many closings they have that week. No matter what happens, they go to work every day, and the only part of the job that they call work is trying to get more business. I'm not worried about them not handling a closing, or not showing up for a listing appointment, or not submitting an offer. Everyone's going to do that. I don't see anybody really dropping the ball there. But they will completely throw themselves under the bus and say, I don't have time to get more business today. So even if they just do it for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours a day, as long as they consistently try to get more business, That's what the top producers do. They never say they're too busy for that. They always carve out a little bit of time, even if it's just a little bit, for their goals. And tracking accountability is what makes the difference. That's what keeps them doing it. It's very easy to start doing it. It's very easy to learn what to do. But the difference is it's the ones that can keep themselves doing it over a period of time. So that accountability becomes the difference. And that's, fortunately, what your product does. That's why I like it so much.
So, I mean, and so thank you. I mean, I think tracking is huge, and also what it does is it monitors your pipeline. So it's not just tracking the accountability, it's showing you the results that you're going to get from that activity and say, here's how much money you have the potential of making if you do your job right here. Here's that carrot, or that, you know, that gold nugget, if you will, going, hey, here's what you're going to, here's your result. Because most salespeople, especially real estate, and in my book, we like instant gratification.
Yeah.
And we don't see the activities result right away, we get discouraged, and then we stop doing it. And when you can start filling it in, writing it out, filling it in Pipeline Wizard, whatever it is, you have that carrot that's like, okay, this resulted in something. I can see it. I can't touch it yet, but I know it's going to be possible once I continue doing this consistently.
Absolutely. I have an agent that I coach. He sells more than 500 homes every single year. And he always says this mantra: you don't have to like the activity so long as you remember to like the result. And that'll get you through anything. And that is something I love, that you can constantly see on Pipeline Wizard. You can constantly see, all right, here's how much money I'm generating. Because people forget that. They go back and they maybe have a system to contact their COI throughout the course of a year, and then they go back and source where all their business came from. They go, oh, yeah, man, I'm sure happy I do that, because they look and they realize all that came from their various contacts, their COI over the course of the year. But if you're constantly reminded of the result, I think it's The 4 Disciplines of Execution by Sean Covey, where he talks about lead and lag measures. You know, your lead measures those activities that are sometimes painful, but it's the lag measure, the result, the goal. And in this case, you go all the way out to income in your pocket.
Yeah.
That is what keeps the motivation going. So you can see an appointment to a contact to a all the way to a contract to a closing, and then a dollar amount, and that is a carrot. That's a big carrot.
It is a carrot. So, I mean, thanks, man. Well, you know, it's been awesome talking to you, dude. I so appreciate it, and you know, I follow the realestatetrainer.com, and the videos, the articles, the value that you provide on that site, man, is just bar none one of the best in the industry right now. So, thanks for providing that.
Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it, man. You bet. I'll keep it coming. You keep it coming.
Thank you, sir. Will do.
All right.